Welcome back to the BVarsity Coaches Super Show. And in next is a Mira Monte third-year man, as I learned during the break. I only knew down for second year, but David Coldiron of Mira Monte in for his third year with the Lions. And Coach, how are things different in year three? I know it's kind of a building process out there. Where are you at?
Well, first of all, congratulations to you. Daughter going to kindergarten.
That's right.
Day one. Congratulations over there. Man just got back from his honeymoon, just got married, so congratulations,
Life
guy.
goes on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And now it's football, right?
Yeah. That's right.
Now it's football. Kindergarten starts, marriage, weddings are over, it's time for football.
Yes.
So year three, we've had a chance to work through our weight program for a couple of years. We've seen a lot of increases in our strength. So we're really excited about that. We have some, people have been in our program now for 2 years, so they know what our expectations are, and it's really helped the quality of our practices. So the real big thing that we've noticed this preseason is, we're seeing the fruits of labors from the weight program for 2 years, and we're seeing a lot of big quality increase in what we're getting out on the field and the practice field right now.
In my experience, when you talk about weight room gains, that's something that can show up on the field almost overnight. Where one day you're kind of the scrawny kid on the block, and the next day all of a sudden you can compete.
Well, overnight over 2 years.
Well, no, I'm not saying it doesn't take a lot of work, but all of a
yeah.
sudden you kind of turn that corner, and it's all of a sudden you're there.
And that was part of the master plan. I went into the program and I looked around and we assessed kids. My first month there, we assessed kids and we knew that we were way behind, and that we needed to get going. And so we've stuck with our plan. We've pushed it. We kept going with it. And quite frankly, we've seen some real serious gains in the weight room. And so I'm hoping what you're saying is we're going to see those fruits of our labor show up as W's this fall.
Well, in that same kind of mindset, Dave, for you going into year three, what have you really kind of caught on with Mira Monte and the culture there? And maybe what changes have you as a coach made to kind of, make a stance at Mira Monte that may have been different for you than you were at Granite Hills?
Well, I think there's some common things no matter what kind of a program you're trying to run. If you're trying to get to a higher standard, then you have to lift that standard up. And sometimes you have growing pains with that. And when you lift a higher standard up, not everybody wants to run in and jump in and be a part of it, especially if they haven't seen a lot of prior success. And so far, we've seen some success in a few sports at our school. But we haven't seen a great deal of success. I mean, we're a new school. We don't have a big background to go back on of successes of league championships or what have you. So what we've done is really kind of push the bar up as far as, attendance in the off-season weight room, attendance in summer football. But that's kind of, I think, detracted from some people. It's hurt our numbers a little bit. But again, like going back to what I said to you earlier was, the quality of the practice that we're having is so much better. So we're kind of right this minute trading some numbers for quality, but I think that's a good thing, and I think that the numbers will come back when they see that we're putting a good quality product on the field.
Okay, low numbers are there, but what are we going to expect out of the Lions this year?
The Lions, we have a really good offensive line. This is my third year, and I believe that this is our best offensive line that we've had. These guys have been really working hard. We have experience. We have, 4 out of our 5 guys on the O-line played varsity football last year. The other young man that's coming on is actually one of our better talented guys. So we're really looking forward to that part. And then we've really put a lot of emphasis in the offseason of getting our defense situated. We have a staff that's dedicated right now just to defense. They're not spending any time on the offensive side of the ball, and they're focusing on that. And they've really, so far we've seen improvements there. Looking at our passing leagues and passing tournaments, what have you, we've seen a lot of improvement there. We won't really know until this Friday, but, so far we've seen improvements.
How much is that predicated on what Christian Rodriguez does for you, kind of the quarterback of the defense for him at linebacker?
Absolutely. We actually have a couple spots that are quarterback, Christian Rodriguez being one. He's kind of taking care of the front for us and making sure guys are getting lined up correctly. And Christian's kind of an emotional leader for us. Like this summer when he was with us in passing tournaments, he made a difference just by his presence a lot of times from an emotional standpoint and guys knowing that he's there. So he's really has leadership for us. And then in our secondary, we have a gentleman by the name of Jesse Sandoval, who's a returning varsity guy, and he's kind of our quarterback of our secondary, if you will, because we do make some adjustments based on what people are trying to do with us formationally, and he's doing that. And Jesse's been there all spring, all summer, working on it, and his communication's got really good.
And I finally found what I was looking for messing around over here. But we had a reporter out to talk to you at practice the other day.
Yes.
And he's reported here that when you had a 185-pound bench pressing competition when you first got there 2 years ago, the entire team lifted a total of 20 reps.
Yes, it was. I think it's either 5 or 6 guys. I can't remember exactly how many they do at these competitions off the top of my head. But yes, that first year.
Okay, so it wasn't the entire team.
No, it wasn't the entire team, but it's 5 or 6 guys that were supposed to be some of your stronger guys.
And there's some guys who probably can't lift 185 pounds other than that.
There was a couple guys that couldn't at that time.
And now you have 110 reps from the same kind of group of guys. So that's
correct. We had
500% increase.
We had 5 guys over 20 reps.
Yeah.
So that's a huge increase.
And it's kind of nice to see that tangible progress for the guys too, isn't it? To kind of give them the confidence that, hey, we can do things we couldn't do 2 years ago.
And that's what we're trying to tap into. We're saying, hey, look, you guys have done this. Look what you've done against other people. Because by the way, that what you're referring to, the 110 reps, that was at a tournament sponsored by Hanford. And so there were schools there from Bakersfield. There's schools here from Visalia and Hanford, state champs last year. And quite frankly, Hanford had, I think, 80-some reps, and we were at 110. So that shows you our kids have been working really hard.
Well, and Dave, that's a big thing for a program like you with low numbers. You've got probably out of the 22 positions, it's probably, 12, 13 guys playing those positions because you got so many two-way guys, and you need them healthy, not just on August 26th, but you need them healthy November 4th and maybe later on. And that's the biggest thing is, do you preach to them, hey, what you do now is going to matter more in November than anything else you do the entire year?
Well, absolutely, we preach that. But I will have to step back a little bit. We are not going to have 12 or 13 guys going both ways.
Really?
We have split into an offensive group and a defensive group. Are we a little thin? Yes. And are some of the offensive guys backing up defensive guys and vice versa?
Okay.
Yes. But we're trying to get out there with 22 fresh bodies, 11 on O, 11 on D. That's our philosophy going forward this year.
Trevor tried to sneak it in there. He was going to change the rules of football and put 12 or 13 on both sides of the ball there.
No, I was saying
tough
12
to
or
do.
13 guys playing those 22 positions.
Maybe you can get us 12 guys to be on the field when we're on defense. Maybe you can work that for us. I'll take that.
Well, hopefully that's your crowd at some point, too, as your 12th man.
Absolutely.
And that's a big thing, too, is that, when you look at schools like you and Independence and Golden Valley, you're trying to build this kind of culture where you don't have the alumni that are having kids coming back. You don't have the alumni that's, maybe has the money and says, hey, we'll give a little bit as a booster. You guys got to build that. At what point are you seeing guys that you've coached the last 2 years that have graduated, they're coming back and maybe, saying some good things about Mira Monte and probably getting these guys up a little bit?
Well, it's been really great because we actually have a couple kids. I call them kids. They're not kids anymore. They're graduates. They're on our staff coaching with our Frost-Soft team, which is fantastic. We've had a lot of guys come back. We had a couple guys just leave. Roger Cuevas from last year just left to go to Ohio Wesleyan to play Division II, and he was coming back to practices to talk to guys and encourage them and lift weights with them. So, we're starting to plug into that. We're starting to see that encouragement.
Yeah, and I think if you look at your schedule, and I know wins and losses are not always the most popular topic at this time of year, but you have an opportunity here. I mean, Week 1, September the 2nd, is at Kennedy. They're two-time defending D6 champion. That's going to be a tough game. But Shafter, East, Arvin, Cal City, Rosemont to start the year, none of those teams you look at and say, oh, they won 9 games last year. That's really going to be a tough game. Not saying you're going to win every single one of those games, but, boy, you have an opportunity to get out of the gate.
I hear what you're saying, but, not to go Lou Holtz on you, but, Shafter, we opened up with them, and Coach Perucci was played in the state championship 2 years ago.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
and
true.
then follow them up with RFK, back-to-back Valley champs. We're in the state championship last year. That's a pretty good opening of 2 games back to back.
That is also true. There's 2 ways to look at it. You can go Lou Holtz on me, just don't spit on me, okay?
True. Yeah. I got you.
So tell us real quick before we go, the quarterback. I know Hector Lopez is gone. You got a couple of kids who are competing at that spot.
Looked good in
he
the All-Star game.
He was a really
fun.
talented kid, and to replace him is difficult. Where are you at in that? And it's such a focal position, but how do you maybe take the pressure off of those guys?
First of all, I'd say Hector did a really nice job, and we've been really blessed the last 2 years in a row in that All-Star game you were just talking about. The year before, Kevin Bagsby represented us really well as well. And then we had Hector, and then also Alonzo was in that game as well. And I think if Hector would have had a little bit more time with those receivers, we might have really been able to see what he can do. So we're excited about what he's going to do, how he's going to represent Mira Monte up on the hill this next fall. How do you replace that? It's really tough to replace. Hector really had been working a long time on his skills and getting better and better and better. We're going to have a gentleman that's been on our JV team that's stepping in, Ken Hammonds, and we have a battle with him with a guy that was on our Frost-Soft team last year, and Rolando Montez. So, we have a battle going on right now. They know that. I've been up front with them about it, and we really won't know until our scrimmage this Friday against Strathmore.
And so, some of that competition can be good for the guys too.
Well, sure it is. We want to find out what they're going to be like. We're not just handing the job to anybody yet. We want to see, can you handle it? Can you do what you need to do? Can you get the team to rally around you? That's part of it too. When you step in the huddle, are those guys going to really feel like you're the guy that can lead them forward? That's an important piece.
Right. It's exciting times down at Mira Monte, and David Coldiron in year 3 down there, and hopefully it's a good one for you.
Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And come down anytime.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming out and seeing us, and we will return the favor soon.
Excellent.
It's David Coldiron of Mira Monte. Up next, David Finucchi of East here on the BVarsity Super Show.